Who's actually going to benefit from a cordless, autonomous pool vacuum, and who's better off sticking with a manual brush, or a cheaper plug-in model? If you're the sort of homeowner who's already juggling pool chemicals, weekend grill duties, and a kid-and-thebiki schedule, the answer to that question can feel pretty decisive. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And for anyone who's ever tripped over a tangled power cord while trying to get a clean line across the pool, you'll want to hear why this particular robot might be worth the extra $200 plus you're probably budgeting for a Satan-forget solution. When I first started looking at robotic pool cleaners, I kept circling back to three main concerns: how often the unit needs to be recharged, whether it can handle the odd corners of a freeform backyard pool, and just how much work it actually saves versus a handheld vacuum. The Sequedem cordless model claims a 90-minute runtime, dual-motor suction, and a self-parking feature that tucks itself back into its charging dock automatically. Those sound like all the right buzzwords, but the real test is what happens after you dump a bag of chlorine, turn on the lights, and let the robot do its thing. Let's start with the setup. Unpacking the unit reveals a fairly straightforward package: the robot itself, a floating dock, a power brick for the dock, and a short manual. The biggest win here is the absence of a long power cable that you have to thread through the pool's filtration system, a headache that many older robotic cleaners still impose. You simply place the dock on the surface, plug it into a standard outlet, and let the robot dock itself. The first time you launch it, you'll notice a quick calibration process where it runs a short learning loop around the pool edges. There's a tiny LED indicator that blinks to let you know when it's found its home base and when the battery is full. In actual use, the 90-minute runtime is a practical sweet spot for most residential pools. A typical flat-bottom backyard pool of about 15,000 gallons will usually be fully scoured in one 70 to 80-minute cycle. That means you can start the robot after sunset, let it run overnight, and wake up to a mostly clean surface and walls. For larger in-ground pools or for those with a lot of debris, think fallen pine needles, after a windy day you might need to run 2 cycles, but the dock's quick charge capability gets the battery back to 80% in roughly an hour, so you can start a second pass without waiting all night. The dual-motor suction system is where the power claim starts to feel more concrete. The robot features 2 large suction doors at the front, each paired with a spinning brush that agitates the pool floor and pushes debris toward the intake. In my own backyard test, the robot handled fine sand from a recent landscaping project without choking, and the debris collected in the onboard filter bag was easy to empty. It also managed algae patches that tend to cling to the walls. The brush gently dislodged the growth, and the suction sucked it into the bag. That said, because the unit is designed for flat-bottom pools, it struggles a bit in the deep end of a sloped-wall pool where the brush can't reach the surface. If your pool has a pronounced deep zone, you'll likely need a separate cleaning routine for that area. One feature that caught my eye was the self-parking mechanism. Most robots will simply find the dock when the battery runs low, but the Sequedem model actually aligns itself with the dock's magnetic guide rails and clicks into place. In my experience, this works reliably as long as the dock is placed on a calm section of water. If you have a lot of wind or a fountain that creates surface turbulence, the robot may overshoot the dock on its final approach, and you'll have to manually steer it back in. It's not a deal-breaker, but it does mean the Satan-forget promise isn't 100% hands-free for every pool layout. Now, who should definitely consider this robot? If you have a flat-bottom residential pool, use chlorine or saltwater treatment, and you'd rather spend an hour a week on pool maintenance than chase a suction hose around the perimeter, this product slots nicely into that niche. It's especially handy for families with kids who splash a lot of sand and leaf litter, or for retirees who want to keep the pool tidy without a weekly chore. The cordless design eliminates the risk of damaging an electrical cord or tripping over it while you're walking around the pool deck, a safety factor that often gets overlooked. Conversely, there are clear cases where this robot isn't the best investment. If your pool is irregularly shaped with coves, steps, or a deep diving area, the robot's flat-bottom design limits its reach, and you'll end up spending additional time with a handheld vac. Also, if you're on a tight budget, the upfront cost may feel steep compared to a simple suction hose that you can buy.